Well, thousands of untested rape kits are still sitting in evidence lockers across the state, despite the efforts of a task force created by the governor to address this issue. Even though progress has been made on clearing the backlog of untested kits, some advocates complain the process is taking too long and say a change is needed in the way law enforcement investigates crimes against women.
Governor Mary Fallin formed the task force on sexual assault forensic evidence more than a year ago, directing law enforcement agencies throughout the state to report the number of untested rape kits. Fallin noted that Oklahoma has not had a statewide tracking system, nor a mandate to ensure that the kits, which provide evidence in rape cases, have been tested.
It's estimated in the past that about a quarter of the kits have been tested, leaving thousands of untested kits throughout the state.
A total of 312 agencies reported on the untested rape kits by the May 31st deadline, and Governor Fallin pointed out that 60 more law enforcement agencies have responded since that time.
We're making great progress in the state, and I'm happy to report that, but it's still not good enough. We still can do better, and we got to make sure we get every one of those in.
The task force met this week to update its progress, reporting that more than 7,000 rape kits remain untested. Sarah Banna with Civic Services Community Advocacy called that unacceptable.
The fact that there's over 7,000 untested rape kits in the state of Oklahoma is again reconfirmation that the lives of women and children are undervalued and exploited in the state of Oklahoma.
But Fallin believes the task force is doing what it can to improve the system.
The intent, of course, of the audit was not to say someone's done something wrong, but just say we can do better, and that we need a process in place to make the system work more efficiently, more effectively, and to make sure we're taking care of the victims.
Call me.
Melissa Blanton, chair of the task force and chief of the Victim Services Unit at the State Attorney General's office, says the audit revealed a number of reasons for why agencies had not submitted rape kits for testing, including a lack of victim cooperation, a decision by district attorneys not to file charges, or the most common answer, other.
Often it was that the suspect was already known, so there may not have been an additional reason for evidence for that case for it to be tested. It may be that the victim did report it at first, but then didn't come back later and participate in the case, and so it wasn't able to be prosecuted, and so they never submitted those kits for testing.
Blanton says some of the untested kits date back as far as the 1980s. An issue which greatly concerns Brenda Golden, herself a rape survivor and a member of the Society to Preserve Indigenous Rights and Indigenous Treaties.
DNA degrades over time, and so we're also facing degradation of evidence as well as the statute of limitations.
Blanton says testing those kits is still important despite their age because of the evidence contained within them that could help clear up some old cases, especially if it's put into the Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS, database.
We may not have had a suspect at the time, but if you get that kit tested and get it in the database, we may be able to uncover that. And that's one of the things that came out in the task force meetings was the importance of that, and other states, how they've been able to prosecute more and more people, not just rapists, but murderers and other violent criminals as a result of that database.
Part of the problem with clearing the backlog is the price of analysis. It costs crime labs anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 to analyze each rape kit, with the total cost for all untested kits now topping $9 million.
If we had the money, we could submit them all for testing immediately, but right now it's an issue of prioritizing and determining which ones are most important, which cases can be prosecuted, which cases is there a reason to move forward now.
Talk of prioritizing has left victims like Golden frustrated.
The resources that they're talking about they don't have to test these kits could be made up from somewhere else. This is a routine investigative issue that should be budgeted in every annual budget.
Is one victim's justice more important than the other? And I understand that there are statutes of limitations to hold people legally accountable, but I would assume that a victim of a rape would like to have some sort of conclusion to who the perpetrator of their crime was, even if it is just for their own personal knowledge. I may sound angry, but just imagine what a victim who is still waiting on some sort of results or conclusion about a crime that's happened against her, her body, her humanity and rights would feel.
Exactly when the remaining kits will be analyzed remains uncertain. The task force will meet monthly to develop a plan of action for testing and come up with a standardized sexual assault kit for use throughout the state.